Let's welcome back to the show my former boss. He's Steve Forbes with Forbes Media. He's a Forbes Media chairman and editor-in-chief. Steve, it's great to see you again. So, Steve, okay, your take on this. It's good to see you. Obama State Department official George Kent, 2016 classified email surfacing. Kent led the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine. He sends this email saying anyone, you got to tell the vice president. Then Joe Biden, vice president. Hunter Biden's business dealings in Ukraine is hurting U.S. efforts to fight corruption. So what did he do about it? Was he warned? Because Hunter stayed at the Burisma energy firm for 5 years. The guy reportedly who co-founded it was charged with corruption, bribery, and graft. That was the allegations against him. So what's going on there?
Well, we know what's going on. Unfortunately, the son was using his father, and who and other members of the family were trying to get rich off of the fame of their father and brother. And so that's got to be called to account. And there are two things. One is, why isn't the Justice Department doing it? Unfortunately, Attorney General Merrick Garland, whom some people thought would have tried to depoliticize the Justice Department, has gone in the opposite direction, including accusing parents at school boards of being terrorists, for crying out loud. So I think you're going to have happen is, one, you're going to have a special prosecutor, and two, when the Republicans gain control of Congress in November, they're going to conduct investigations on that, on the Pelosi family, and also on this whole thing of gain of function, who financed, what institutions the U.S. financed the viruses at the Wuhan lab that led to the disaster that we have today, the horrors of today.
Yeah, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is already assembling that list of probes. Steve, should there be a special counsel appointed on this? That's what Senator Marshall Blackburn and a growing number of Republicans are saying, because this is this is a national security problem. Hunter Biden getting Secret Service protection, flying on hundreds of flights overseas to do overseas business dealings in Russia and China, and with companies that were backed by those governments' military intelligence and national security services. Also Kazakhstan, Romania. Now the New York Times is suing the State Department to get emails about Hunter's dealings in Romania. So should there be a special counsel on this? What do you think?
Usually I'm opposed to special counsels because they often go in different directions and stay around until they try to find something, even if there's nothing there. But I think this is a case where it's going to have to be done. First, we'll let the Justice Department see what they do. I think we'll know in a few days what that's going to be. And then you have to have pressure for that. And then, but I don't think it's going to happen until after the November elections. I think they're going to try to stonewall this thing. But it's very telling, I think, Liz, that the New York Times is on it as well. So the other shoes, a ton of shoes are about to drop.
Yeah, the Just the News is reporting about this email. By the way, George Kent had already testified to Congress about what Hunter was doing with Burisma in October 2019, I believe. And Victoria Nuland, Obama State Department official, had said he was working with, quote, odious individuals. So the Obama 2019 State Department and the U.S. Attorney in Delaware is looking with an IRS grand jury subpoena to get at his financial records and banking records at J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of China, because what Hunter was doing, according to a Senate report, was sluicing the cash flows through off-balance sheet shell companies to bury it, so he didn't have to register as a foreign lobbyist under FARA. That's the same law that they nailed General Michael Flynn with. So the web of this involving the uncle James Biden, the president's brother, how could the vice president have thought this was okay to do this, to fly an Air Force Two with his son, to do overseas business deals with government-backed companies with military intelligence behind it?
Well, there's no excuse for it. And if Joe Biden had not been the Democrat nominee in 2020, this would have been pursued the way it should have been pursued. But like a lot of other things, this was slow walked into oblivion when it became clear that Joe Biden was going to be the nominee. And it's a scandal. And one of the other things, by the way, I hope they have finally uncovered with the Durham report is 2016 with Russia collusion. Put that to rest. That was a great scandal, and we still haven't gotten to the bottom of that.
Okay, Steve, we'll have you back on. It's good to see you again.